So a lot of you guys have been asking for Hard Knocks reviews and for my perception on each episode because I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, and well, today we're going to get to that. Now, before we get to the content, just a reminder, we're giving away a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X. All you have to do to enter is subscribe and turn on our notifications on this channel. We're also doing a Madden giveaway on my Twitter and Instagram page, so you just have to be a follower on Twitter and Instagram to enter. And now that we got all that out of the way, break! Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? So last night we got our very first episode of Hard Knocks training camp with the Dallas Cowboys, and to be honest, a lot of what I expected was in this episode. I said in previous uploads that one of the things I was looking forward to the most is seeing how Mike McCarthy interacted with the Dallas Cowboys, and well, all right, let's just cut right into it. The episode opens absolutely beautifully, to be honest. I don't think I've ever seen an introduction to a Hard Knocks series that shook me the way this introduction did. It features Dak Prescott pretty much describing the trials and tribulations that he went through over the past year, citing that he had to begin the year dealing with the fact that his own brother ended his own life, and the reason for that, at least from what we have heard, was because Jace Prescott was unfortunately really exposed to Dak Prescott's mother while she was fighting cancer. Now, just so you could understand what this poor man went through, just imagine seeing your mother, your poor mother, fighting cancer, throwing up, undergoing chemotherapy, and slowly deteriorating until she dies. I don't mean to get dark, but it can make sense why this shook Jace Prescott to the point where he went to the extent that he did, as horrible as it may sound. Now, if you consider that Dak had to stomach that his own brother and one of his best friends, which, bear in mind, they appeared on a Campbell's commercial together, and the Prescott brothers are very, very tightly knit. Dak is a very big family man, so you could already imagine what this poor man had to go through before last year even started. Dak then continues to describe that when he entered the 2020 season, with the storyline being the fact that his brother ended his own life, just a few weeks into the season, he underwent the most difficult injury and by far one of the most graphic injuries that we have ever seen. And through it all, just that one introductory clip, I think it's very important to humanize players as much as possible. I feel like a lot of people look at Dak Prescott and just think, look at his statistics. Is he capable of being a Super Bowl winning quarterback? Does he deserve the contract that he just received? And I don't think enough people look at Dak Prescott the person. So I absolutely love the introduction, because whether you love Dak Prescott the player or hate Dak Prescott the player, you have to respect and admire the strength that Dak Prescott the person has. So throughout the entire episode, you would see Dak Prescott pretty much be frustrated with the fact that Mike McCarthy and the Dallas Cowboys have him on a little bit of a snap count. Now, they don't really explain their system, but they pretty much have a GPS on him and are trying to make sure that he doesn't overwork himself as he tries to make his way back from an extremely gruesome injury. So throughout the entire episode, you would see Dak Prescott being frustrated because he was out due to injury over the past year, and once again, he is on a snap count. The next storyline that jumped out at me was Ezekiel Elliott in general. He looks like he's in significantly better shape, if you ask me. We've made videos on this channel, and it looks like he is becoming more and more accustomed to being involved in the passing game. Now, I don't want to get my hopes up as a Cowboy fan because we've been waiting for him to do this for a while, but at the very least, he looks like he's in significantly better shape. It looks like football is at the forefront of his mind, and it looks like he's poised for actually a remarkable season. This brings us to Mike McCarthy, which, with all due respect, you know, I really want to get behind my coach and get behind my team, and I've always been a Mike McCarthy critic, maybe because I felt like he was placed in a very good situation to win his lone Super Bowl, and I don't want to hate on the guy too much because I don't even think he really had the greatest opportunity last year, but that's in large part his own fault. He brought in a horrible defensive coordinator in Mike Nolan as, I guess, some sort of way of paying him back for hiring Mike McCarthy as the San Francisco Francisco 49ers offensive coordinator in 2005. And despite having a tremendous amount of talent, at least in my opinion, on the defensive side of the ball, Mike Nolan was just absolutely terrible. And the way Mike McCarthy would give his speeches, if you look at the Dallas Cowboys while he's giving those speeches, they don't really seem that locked in. There's times where you could just see players aren't really taking him super seriously. And there's times where you just look at Mike McCarthy and you could tell that he's not 100% focused on everything at hand. There's a point in Hard Knocks where he looks at Dak Prescott, and Dak Prescott has been standing outside for doing nothing for quite some time. And he eventually goes to the trainer and he says, "Hey, what's Dak Prescott doing outside? Doesn't he have a shoulder strain?" And the trainer says, "Yes, he does." And then Mike McCarthy says, "Okay, well, why don't we start getting him on treatment for the shoulder strain?" I don't know. Maybe my perception of Mike McCarthy is a little biased. Maybe it's wrong. Maybe I'm a Dallas Cowboys pessimist or a Dallas Cowboys realist. But in terms of my first impression of McCarthy, the speeches he gave, when you compare it to the likes of John Gruden or Sean McVay or even Anthony Lynn, who got fired last year, he's definitely a little less impressive than the head coaches we had on Hard Knocks recently. But to be honest, who was impressive was Dan Quinn. And if there is a head coach, well, in this case, a defensive coordinator, that clearly knows what he's doing, that clearly seems like he has an absolute passion for the game of football and for his defense, it's Dan Quinn. Now, the first thing you notice is Dan Quinn is actually going to be calling plays from the broadcast booth, because apparently for him, it's a little bit easier for him to see the entire football field and know what adjustments to make. Now, a huge storyline in Hard Knocks was the Dallas Cowboys first round draft pick, Micah Parsons. Now, of course, going into Hard Knocks, I thought to myself, Micah Parsons, when we drafted him, the number one issue we had when I was evaluating him for my mock drafts is he had some character concerns. And the Dallas Cowboys historically don't really care about character concerns, but what I see in Micah Parsons is a player that is not only extremely energetic and has remarkable athleticism, but a player that has a tremendous fire in himself. There's a point where Leighton Vander Esch says to Micah Parsons that you're trying to make all the plays, you're trying to make every play, and you got to know when it's your play to make. And Parsons says, "I'm still young. I'd be thinking all plays are my plays." So that's not necessarily the greatest look for Leighton Vander Esch, considering that this is a guy that could eventually be the reason why Leighton Vander Esch ends up leaving, as the Cowboys could elect not to re-sign him this offseason. But I think my favorite part as a Dallas Cowboy fan in the entire episode is when Dan Quinn and Micah Parsons had an exchange at the Hall of Fame game, where Parsons was on the phone with Dan Quinn and asked if he could get one more series. Quinn says, "Nope, that's it for tonight." And Parsons says, "But coach, come on, I'm just getting warmed up and adjusted." Quinn said, "Well, so am I." And Parsons says that was not enough. So there's a lot of things to be excited about, and there's actually a tremendous amount of storylines behind this Dallas Cowboys team, and the fact that they have their joint practice with the LA Rams next should mean that in the next episode we actually see the Aaron Donald fight that we made a video on. Now, if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor and sack the like button for the YouTube algorithm if you want more Hard Knocks recaps. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.